Alright, what is up guys? Venom Player here, and I want to go over a kind of a topic that's been on my mind today, being Trench. I've seen a lot of videos saying that yes, Admiral Trench is good, but is he worth it? And I want to try and make the case for that. The other thing we're going to do, we're going to go over our first round of GAC here on the alt account, but first things first, let's go get our daily login rewards. Alright, and we'll go from there. So, that being said, let's get into the GAC breakdown. If you quick pause it there, you'll probably have seen the results, which were not particularly good on our end, and I'll share with you guys where I messed up. So hopefully you guys, whoops, uh, hopefully you guys can learn. All right, so we're gonna come over here. We're gonna view the current round. And go back one, we got the big L. Let's take a look at it. So, what happened here? So, it was really a defensive three, and it's that there's one team I particularly struggle with, and that is this guy right here, right? And I'll get to that here in a minute, but we got a very, very nice hold right here with our Jedi Knight Revan team. So Jedi Knight Revan, Jolie, and Yoda. And why did this work? Well, the reason that worked is because right on, in front of that is Padme. All right, Padme's in there right on in front, basically saying, "Hey, use a Lord Vader, not Lord Vader, Darth Vader against me." Right. And then you get to the wall behind that also says, "Hey, use Darth Vader against me." Right? We got General Grievous right there, our Banner Sniper team. So if we go back to their account, why did I set the defense that way? Well, if we look at 1D 5B, shout out to him, very well played on his end. What you see is Palpatine Vader, awesome. You're gonna need that to beat the Padme. Like the rest of this will get absolutely crushed, right? And then from there it was, CLS is not a good matchup against Padme. Night Sisters is basically a loss. Imperial Troopers are kind of iffy. They're kind of in a weird spot on that, but basically they're sitting behind. Geos can technically squeak it out, and that probably would have been good for him to use, but I think the issue that it came to is that afterwards is he had to go fight Jedi Knight Revan, which essentially requires the same or similar counters, right? It's a few extra you can throw in against it. Darth Revan beats him and Padme, but this will definitely, unlike Padme, this will definitely lose out to a Qui-Gon lead, especially in GAC. So something to keep in mind. So where did this go wrong on our end? So in here, we have Wampa for attack, which we used here. Real nice, clear, real clean, real quick, right? But where to go wrong? And where it really went wrong is right up here in two different spots. One is that CLS with Han and Chewie could not clear this. And it all has to do with this guy healing, right? And I didn't expect to clear that. So I was like, okay, we'll go back in for a second and third battle, right? So what was our second battle? Well, we took our Bosk bounty hunters, right? And we took in Grief Karga, who inflicts his days. And we'll come back up here. So scrolling. So we took in our Bosk bounty hunters, and we took in Grief Karga. And what I probably should have done is taken in Boba Fett, but instead what I did is I wanted to take in Fennec Shand. And the reason I did that is because she has this great mechanic called Armor Shred, right? And what does Armor Shred do? Armor Shred basically says, hey, you're gonna lose 50% defense for each stack. Well, even at 20 stacks of Armor Shred, KRU would not sit down. And that's why I really think I should have been taking in Boba Fett instead. One is it would have given my team a little bit more on the healing side, right? But second is this ability right here. And what it does, dispel all buffs and debuffs on them, 30% more damage for each. Okay, whatever. So attack defeats target, they can't be revived. Otherwise, inflict healing immunity for 2 turns. And that is really what I needed. Because what would happen is you would hit KRU, you put a debuff on him or something, and he would shrug off any damage because he'd keep healing from the buffs and debuffs going on him, right? So that is really the big issue. And that's an issue we continue to run into. So, that being said, and in 5v5, we can take out a KRU team easy. CLS with Chewbacca, Han Solo, Old Ben, and you just come on up here and throw in Chupio. Chupio's got it, right? Here's what is Chupio going to do? Chupio's going to hit him with this after 5 or 4 of the guys already went down, and he's gonna wipe the board, right? So he's really good. Han deals a lot of damage, right? Excuse me. And Chupio is going to give Han even more damage through CLS, so it all goes to cred for CLS or KRU then, right? But the big issue is I couldn't take in Wampa, right? And that is something that I did consider, right? Because Wampa has absolutely amazing tenacity, right? 145 plus the other 100 he gets from his Omicron, and another 50 there when he has the protection, and it's just he ends up at like almost 300, tenacity, which is absolutely monstrous. And he's, pretty good speed for being a low speed character at 249. So why didn't I take him? Well, if we come over here, let's go find KRU. Right, I won't go all the way back to the Omicron. Right. But if we come way down here, so here's KRU, and it comes down to this ability right here, this halt, right? At 8 it gives a little more heals, so it heals them, but also this attack can't be evaded or resisted, which means it just absolutely opens up Wampa to be stunned, and despite their 300% tenacity, not even mentioning if KRU is faster or not. So that's the issue with Wampa is he does not enjoy being stunned or dazed, right? And that there was his big issue. That's why he loses to Dooku, is that stun, right? And Dooku lead, inflicts the tenacity down. So that's really kind of where it went wrong. And in that, we tried making up for it by taking in our geos. But what I forgot to do was double check what geos we are bringing into this matchup, right? Because if I could clear KRU and I could clear that fleet, I win. Right? But this loss, part of the reason it happened is I took in the wrong Geonosian, right? So what I want to do? Well, I wanted to come into this match, right, with Geobrute Alpha, all right? I want to take in Sunpack, because that's going to put a bunch of buffs on my team and a bunch of debuffs on KRU. All right. And then I wanted Geonosian Spy for the damage, right? Because he's going to come in with a big hit and deal massive amounts of damage. The issue with that was I accidentally took in Geonosian Soldier instead, who on his basic inflicts tenacity down, which is just going to keep healing KRU. And so we got walled by simple mistakes, right? So took in CLS, knowing we'd probably have to 2-tap this. And geos aren't bad, but to get through these would have been a pain, right? And then in addition to that, we still have to go through KRU, right? So let's just 2-tap it, whatever, right? Then instead of taking Boba, we took Fennec, right? Which even with minus, gosh, what is that, 1000% defense, we could not chew through this health whatsoever, right? And then lastly, when we really tried to clean it up, we just gave up on the south wall completely. And we went after that. It was just absolutely awful, right? But had we gone after the south wall, I think is another thing. So like I said, we took soldier as opposed to spy. Big mistake, right? Because it makes a very big difference, right? So down here, if we went here, we probably could have either gotten it or we probably could have gotten close to the win, right? Because 148 banners, right? Let's do some quick math. So 218 plus 148, that's going to come out to 376, I want to say. So 218 plus 148. Yep, so 366 is what it's going to come out to, right? And so 366 plus 59 is going to put us 2 banners ahead, right? So we have to get full 59 banners on this team here to do it, and Huck's lead is a pain, and that may or may not have happened with Geos. Maybe we should have taken in CLS instead, gone for the stuns, right? But it's just that's where we went wrong with that. So there you guys go. So if you guys do use Geos, please do make sure you are paying attention to who you are using, because it does make a big difference, right? So there's your GAC breakdown. Now let's get into the Wattam board issue, right? So Wattam board's been really big news, right? We're going to come down here to Separatists, right? So we come over here to Separatists, right? And here's Admiral Trench, the Admiral Trench issue. Wattam board doesn't have an issue. Wattam board is great. And what Admiral Trench says is, hey, I want Dooku, I want Nuke Gunray, I want Jango Fett, and I want Wattam board. And everybody's big issue over this is that Dooku is needed apparently with General Grievous, right? You slot him in over Droideka, and Grievous does amazing things, right? The issue with Jango Fett is it takes apart Mandalorians, right? And Mandalorians is definitely a good team. Don't get me wrong, right? Definitely a good team. But there are a lot of teams that want Mandalorians taken apart, right? And I think that's kind of where our solution sits, is by taking apart Mandalorians. I think Mandalorians is a good team to have and to use if you do not have the other characters trying to pull the team apart, right? And there's Wattam Bor, and Wattam Bor is wanted for Sith Eternal, right? So, that being said, what are our solutions? I say run with it. Admiral Trench lead, Jango Fett, Wattam Bor, New Gunray, Count Dooku. Right. Run with it, and run with it hard. So, and our real solution to this, actually, I do believe, lies within the Mandalorian faction. So we come over here. What's the Mandalorians looking like right now? Well, it's looking Maul lead, right? With Armor, with Candyman, with Jango Fett, Bo-Katan, and Beskar Armor Mando, right? Here's the deal. Maul wants to Lord Vader wants Maul anyways, so your leader's already being pulled away. Okay, so let's say you send Maul over here to Lord Vader, right? Alright, so Maul's gone, so now you don't have your leader. The Armorer is going to replace Wattam Bor on the Sith team and the Sith Eternal team because of Earn Your Signet right here. Alright, so what does this say? 50% defense, and 15% max health. Awesome. At the end, recover 30% protection at the end of your turn, and you have 100% counter chance, and you cannot be critically hit. That is really good. That's essentially Wat Tambor right there, right? So, armor, get her up, use her to replace Wat Tambor. No, she's not going to get the turn right away. Yes, it's going to take a moment. But you give armor a single turn, armor's going to give it over to C, right? And C is rolling. Okay, so armor is being pulled away, Maul is being pulled away. Who else is being pulled away? So is Jango Fett. Trench wants Jango Fett. So Jango Fett is going with Trench now. Used to be a big part of Bounty Hunters. Now he's with Trench. And I think that's going to be great because he's going to be a very big damage dealer, right? Like in Bosk teams, Django-led teams, any of it. This ability right here deals absolutely massive damage. This conflagration is awesome because on target, you put it on target character, they lose 25% max health stacking if they were suffering a debuff, right? Uh, they lose tenacity instead in a raid, which is really good. And then if the enemy has a debuff, you're just gonna hit him twice. All right, and gain 50% offense for each enemy with a debuff. All right, so he's gonna deal a bunch more damage if enemies have debuffs, and if he attacks somebody with a debuff, he's gonna hit him a second time, right? So Jango Fett you really want to throw over there, and it's also really nice because very often he starts with his payout active, and he has that damage immunity. All right, so what are you left with? You're left with Candyman. You can throw him back with Old Republic. Not that they're a great team. Definitely not as good as these Mandalorians, right? Or you can keep them here and go Bo-Katan. You can go Gar, Suxon. Candaris. You can go Imperial Super Commando and Sabine Wren, right? Because she's not really used with Phoenix, nor is Phoenix particularly used, right? So you can go C to D grade Mandalorians with these guys here, which is definitely not going to perform as good as Mandalorians, but still an option. The other thing, too, is the Mandalorian Beskar armor, I think, goes back to the Scoundrels, right? That's the other big thing. So when Mandalorians came out, the other team that got eaten up to allow it to function was, the Scoundrels team led by Beskar armor Mando, right? Which I think Beskar Armor Mando Scoundrels is going to be a really good team. Not a really good team, sorry. It was always a B grade team, right? But I think it's going to come on back, right? So you take the Mandalorian, you grab your Queel, you grab your IG-11, right? We can throw somebody else in to be your damage dealer, right? You have all these options. Scoundrels, you are not lacking in scoundrels in this game, right? And then what you do is you also come down here. Sorry, I went right on past him. And you're going to grab Hondo, right? Because Hondo is really, quite honestly, a pretty good character. He's not amazing like some of the other ones, right? But, anytime any character gains bonus turn meter each turn, Hondo gains 5% bonus turn meter. Mando gives turn meter to the whole team whenever they deal damage, so Hondo is going to be going nuts, right? Whenever any character gains a buff, he recovers protection. Awesome. Whenever any character attacks out of turn, he gains protection up, right? If Hondo had at least 2 other allies at the start of the encounter, the first time Hondo has no other allies, he gains 100% turn meter, 25% counter chance, defense, evasion, offense, potency, and tenacity for the rest of the encounter. He gains a lot of stats off that. And he has 100% health steal, right? He evades an attack, he gains a stack of ransom. If a captive enemy is defeated, he'll run. Whatever, we're not worried about that. Alright, at 5 stack, it stacks a ransom, right? He gains 5. He adds exposed to target enemy, right, on his basic, and also gains foresight for 1 turn. He becomes immune to critical hits, covers 20% protection, 20% health as at the start of his turn, and then 20% protection. If there is an enemy with captive debuff, Hondo gains 15% critical chance, damage, and defense penetration, all the way up to 150% and 3 speed for the rest of the game. Also, while you're in GAC, he starts with 25% turn meter for each other scoundrel or smuggler ally. If somebody is captive at the start of Hondo's turn, Hondo gains an additional 15%, right? So he's going to double the speed of this. Okay. Whoops. And insolence, we are pirates, right? So we're going over this. Dispel all debuffs on all scoundrel allies, right? Call target ally to assist, then Hondo assists, right? If they're light side, he does more damage and defense penetration. If they're dark side, he has crit chance and crit damage. So for this team, you're probably going to want to go offense, right? Hondo gains defense up for 2 turns and 4% offense per stack of ransom for 3 turns, right? Again, calling out that offense again, calling out light side guys, all right? More things with the ransom here, right? I don't want to kill you per se. So removing turn meters from enemies, great, slow them down. He gains outmaneuver. Inflict captive on target enemy. And then we are also until the start of Hondo's second turn, enemies gain 25 buffs or Hondo is defeated and remove it from all other enemies. And captive expires, Hondo gains 10 stacks of ransom, right? Speed set to 0, can't bonus attack or gain bonus turn meter. Right, so until Hondo takes until the start of Hondo's second turn. Yeah. So that's really, really big, right? And Hondo's gonna, as we saw, the gain turn meter thing, Hondo is going to be running through turns, right? Deal special gain 1 stack of ransom, max 50 for the rest of the encounter. Right? Ransom, 2% max health and tenacity. Right? So he's just gaining health, he's gaining offense, he's gaining defensive stats. I honestly think Hondo is going to make the BAM team, not really go from a B to an A tier team, but I think he's going to take the Mando team, which in all honesty is probably a B minus, borderline C plus team, and he's going to make them into a B plus team, right? I think he's going to turn it into a really, really good defensive team. And then you just have to fill in the last slot, which I think an Memphis Nest will be a great, great, great fill-in for that, right? Memphis Nest isn't really being used anywhere right now. I think we pull Bam out, throw in Memphis Nest, throw in that, or, you come back down here, grab Cara Dune if she's not with Mon Mothma, right? And just slap her on in there, right? Which really calls out Empire bad guys, so it's up to you. I think Memphis Nest is the better alternative, but I think that's really kind of the solution to all of this is you need to pull apart this Mandalorian team, right? Like the Mandalorian team, everybody says, "Oh, Vader's pulling from everybody," and Trench is going to be pulling from all these characters from here and there. And in all honesty, the Mandalorian faction is what's causing this big issue, right? Because if you can take out Armor, you can send her over to Sith Eternal, which frees up Wat Tambor to be used somewhere else, right? You take Mandalorian out, you have a whole new scoundrel team, right? You put Maul back with Lord Vader, which makes him a whole lot tougher. You'd put Jango back with the Separatists, right? Mandalorian was gone already with the bounty hunters. He was pulled anyways. So really, you're kind of left with some of these guys, and Candyman can go back to the Old Republic. So that being said, I think really the big issue is not that Trench is taking away from all these teams, but it's these pesky, pesky Mandalorians, right? Granted, they do make a good team, but if you have those big characters that need them, don't even worry about assembling the Mandalorian team. Send the characters where they need to go, right? So that's really all there is for today. I'm going to get rolling on the dailies for today, but I wanted to express that I think Admiral Trench really is a good character and really pushes this idea that we need to just split the Mandalorians back up because they are what are causing a lot of these divides with the team. So thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. It's a really big help. If you like the content I do, please go follow me on Patreon. Right, the link is down below. So is the link down there to my Discord channel where we have daily questions and really just kind of a knowledge pool of information. All right, thanks, guys, and I'll see you.